Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get into some of the most exciting technology you've ever heard of. If you're getting interested, if you've heard anything about AI, we've got an expert in the building here to talk about it. Welcome everyone to the Your Little Castle show. You know, our castles are always emerging or evolving, right? And the technology that becomes normal just for everyday function is always changing. But if you haven't heard anything about AI, and for those of you not paying attention, that's artificial intelligence. We've had it for a few decades now at different levels.
Sure.
Remote answering phones and forward your email automatically.
Siri on your phone.
Siri, that's the one we've had for a while now. But to get into now AI, where you can literally, just talk about the robots that are coming from Elon and all the competitors, Anthropic, all these guys.
Yeah.
They literally are going to change the world. So with that, we've got an expert in the building, my buddy Lenny Mink, who I've gotten to know around St. Louis for years, Westport.
Yeah, businesses, business groups, and all kinds of endeavors. You know, we cross paths over the years in the tech world, absolutely, and other things. Yeah,
it is just so much fun talking to him because Lenny knows so much about technology that it's just going to be. Gosh, I double my knowledge every time I talk to him because he's talking about the way you can multicast and shut and auto tune and synchronize and all these things that us techie nerds don't know how to do as well as we.
There's a lot of funky, nerdy stuff that pours out of my brain sometimes. That's true. Yes.
Well, I appreciate you sharing some of it with us. With that, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors, Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. And your little castle, probably whether you like it or not, does have some AI going on with it. So with that, we're putting up on the wall Lenny's website here, LightPath.ai. And tell us a little bit about where you're at in the world of AI, what you're doing for people these days, Lenny.
Well, Carter, the first thing I want to say, I want to open with this. This is very, very important. You know, people talk about the information age. We've heard this term, the information age, IT world, and all this stuff,
that's where we're at, right?
Well, we've moved away. We've moved past that. So we're no longer in the information age, and people like me would like to say we are now in the imagination age.
Okay.
So fundamentally, and we'll talk about LightPath and the things that I'm doing with that and the things that we do. But fundamentally, the AI systems have arrived to a point now where instead of giving them specific tasks like go do this thing, go do that, you give it an outcome and it understands how to break down the tasks that it needs to accomplish to get to that outcome. So one example I would say is instead of saying, hey, I'm going to take a vacation to Italy, go book me a flight, go book me a hotel room, find me some cool things to do. You can basically, with some of these systems now, you can basically say, book me a vacation. And it knows, it will break it down. Okay, I have to get a flight, I got a hotel room, car, and that sort of thing. So that means the best ideas have a real opportunity now to be actually materialized and to come to fruition because the systems are there to do the hard technical stuff for you, right?
And so they can assimilate, just take compile multiple separate tasks, figure out where those are going to fit together, and then coordinate those to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So think of, and this is more the conceptual level of it. Now, applying this to your business or applying this to your personal, whether it's your personal finances or you're managing your home or anything, or creating tools for your, how to operate your business, whatever. There's so many different use cases for this. The technology is very horizontal. It's very broad. So there's, you can apply it. You can make a grocery shopping list with ChatGPT. That's cool, right? But you can also build entire products, really virtual systems with even virtual employees, and that's the stuff I'm actually getting into with some of my own products now.
Yeah, but how often is the case? And humans are wonderful creatures. I happen to be one. You look like one too. But we are not always.
I might not be.
That's right. It's hard to tell these days.
I mean, I'm a legal alien.
That's right. But how often is the case? Humans, we have short memory. It's like I've found Jordan Peterson quite a bit. Right. He says part of our defense mechanisms built into our our human psyche is the fact that we have short memory, so we don't remember all the mistakes we made last week and the day before and 15 minutes ago. Excuse me. So But that's bad when you're trying to get a list of tasks done. You got to keep checking. My mom taught me a long time ago. She said you always have to write down everything. Take notes, write down. And I never did that so I would do it on my phone. But
Right.
you had to have somewhere to document stuff. But computers, they're not going to make a mistake. They're not going to miss something. And now they've become so systematized.
Mistakes are going to happen. AI has some challenges, as we know. There's some things like hallucination where it does from time to time it can make things up. But that has rapidly decreased in its frequency and potency. It's one thing to make a mistake on a grocery list. It's another thing to make a mistake on a company's financials or something like that can really impact some. And so those mechanisms to kind of prevent that have really taken off and have become a lot more part of how AI works in the last 6 months. I mean, there's been a profound shift actually at the very top of the year in terms of how that actually how AI systems process the things you ask them to process.
Yeah, so now we're going to have tasks that'll be accomplished, and they will start to predict what you're going to do. I'll give you an example of some of the AI I started using. I'm a techie nerd with regard to numbers and data, and I wanted to do an analysis. Back in the day, I used to pay-per-click, right? Google still do that? People still have that?
Sure.
But you do your pay-per-click, here's your cost per click, here's your conversion rate, click-through rate. I would do this whole synopsis, and it would spit out at the end. I spent 800 hours working on this thing.
Right.
And it would have all the data and would pull everything and everything. Then I said, you know what, I need a new one. I'm going to do one for video. And if somebody can get a video, and then what kind of conversion rate, and how many people that view it, and what percentage of those people will turn into leads, what percentage of those people will turn into sales.
Yeah.
But I just went to AI and told it to do it.
And data
It took like 3 minutes.
Right, it took 3 minutes, exactly.
Instead of 8 months.
Yeah, exactly. So data analytics and using data of all kinds is one of the great and very powerful use cases of AI, right? Because you can just kind of dump unstructured stuff in there, just dump things in, and then from there, the system can basically organize all your disorganized stuff, right? And then you can start talking to it. Like most people are familiar with some version of a chatbot now. The example I was going to give, like we talk about memory, memory in humans and what humans are capable and not capable, what we're good at and what we're not good at. We're good at imagination, calculation, not so much.
Right.
So the idea, if I miss something on my grocery list or I miss something on my to-do list around the house, it's one thing. But suppose you have an X-ray technician and he's reading his 200th X-ray of the day, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what their shifts are like, but suppose it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He might be a little drowsy. Maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he's having a little trouble at home or some personal issues, right? So don't you want a little helper sitting next to him that's like, hey, buddy, you missed this fracture in this bone or whatever, right? I think that those kind of solutions. I mean, yes, it's all pie. It's a bit. I don't want to be Pollyannish about it. We're going to solve cancer and we're going to send people to Mars and all that kind of stuff. AI right now. There's a lot of AI slop out there. People are just creating all kinds of stuff. I do a lot of promotional videos, but I try to make them funny and make light of the fact that it is AI. Clearly, it's an AI generated video. But the real meat of the matter is what we're doing on the business side, actually business to business services and solutions, right? Where we actually develop systems for companies that automate their business.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about the specific services with regard to, like, you're literally going to a business and they're saying, I have this, they give you a process, here's what they do, right? And you say, okay, we can systematize this many steps.
Absolutely.
You'll still have a human that might have to go and do this thing, but how does that
Yeah, so instead of having this, like, a lot of things are like boring, repetitive, and mundane tasks that, people may be taking stuff from an email, still putting it into a spreadsheet, what have you. So many of those day-to-day tasks, right, and task workers, people whose job is primarily to do that kind of stuff, can be consolidated into some sort of automated process, right? But that cannot happen until you do the very first thing, and this is what I tell my business clients, which is we need to first focus on governance and strategy. So in other words, you have 100 employees in your office. You can't just have them all sitting around on GPT and expect your business to magically improve, right? And so you have to actually understand, what are the ways to govern how your company uses AI, right? And so look at the efficiency issues, look at all the where does it hurt, where's the pain, right? And then figure out a pathway to get kind of from here to beginning to incorporate AI into your operation. So we look for small wins first. We'll say, okay, well, let's take this one set of processes, build an operational tool that really improves your company's efficiency in this one area, and we start to roll out from there. So
yeah, and this just helps businesses to be more efficient, right? Tasks that used to be mundane and tedious and also would lose some accountability. Now they've got something that just holds to a strategy that's always going to be in place so that they can, and checks that go along the way too to make sure that these things are done properly.
Absolutely, yeah, and we build that into, so I do full stack software development, okay? So we build custom tools. Now, 2 years ago, if you went to a software company, and there's quite a number of them, and I know them, quite a few of them here, even in St. Louis and the local area, you go to a software company, it's $100,000 just to walk in the door and say, hello, I need to build this thing for a dashboard to manage my business or whatever, right? Or you have to go to this product and that product, you have to cobble together a bunch of different systems and don't necessarily talk to each other, and that becomes an issue now. Well, now we've compressed the development time and the software coding time to so profoundly. We're talking about a fraction of the time and now so small business, this is accessible to smaller companies of 50, 20, 50, even 5 employees. You can actually build custom tools, custom software, for your own business operation. And so that's where I step in, I do those kind of things. So, it's a lot more, I guess, affordable and more efficient, And then the key thing, Carter, is to repurpose the time that was once spent doing all this stuff that people really don't want to do, and it's kind of mundane stuff, right? So let's find other ways to use the expertise and the knowledge base that your company actually has, and repurpose those individuals' extra time.
Yeah, then we're going to find ourselves being much more efficient with what we're trying to produce, also more accurate, and then, boy, the proficiency are we going to look at a doubling or a tripling? They're talking about, I'll throw this in there too, but I want to get to that answer. I know you got that one. But they're saying there's going to be the first billionaire who ran a company by himself.
Right. So I do practice what I preach. I'm not a billionaire, but I've worked for and been mentored by actually a few of them. I've been very lucky enough in my business career to have been taken under the wing of several, and it's kind of the billionaire mindset, So there's an aspect to this whole AI revolution that is going to enable, and it is enabling, and I'm proof of that. It's going to enable people to basically create an entire capital generation system, whether it's a piece of software that other people use or something for your own business that is almost virtually and entirely AI driven. So in about 4 months to 6 months with LightPath, with my business, I'm going to be actually launching a service where we offer virtual employees, right?
Yeah,
that are trained on specific domains. Well, I need an employee that does customer service. Okay, well, this thing knows literally, it's read everything that your company's ever produced. It knows everything about your products and services, and it sounds like a human, and it'll probably handle at least 70 to 80% of those interactions, right? And that's extremely valuable and potent for a company to maintain that consistency.
Yeah, this is going to get kind of crazy. They're talking about how many tens of millions of jobs are going to be eliminated by this. But is it also going to provide the opportunity for more jobs? Because there's other tasks that humans still are going to be better at. They're saying most of the things they have to do with kind of physical stuff, labor. Are going to be important,
it's going to be a minute. It's going to. I like to joke around. It'll be a minute before we have roofing robots, right?
Right.
It's still going to be some dudes with a hammer doing your roof, right? As it were. So
Optimus.
Exactly right. Yes, robots are here. They're doing certain specific tasks. They've been around for a long time. We know that, building cars and doing all kinds of 3D printing. So there's a lot of these technologies. But in terms of the job, that's actually one of the first questions I get, like, are you here for our jobs? So the reality is some jobs, certainly there will be attrition of some jobs. And that's, we don't have stagecoach drivers anymore either, right? We don't have, right.
Right.
So unfortunately some jobs, are going to go away. But most of that middle bell curve, a lot of people's lives are simply going to become, they'll be more potent, they'll be able to do more with the same time. So maybe you have a paralegal that can handle, I don't know much about paralegal, but a paralegal handle 20 cases a week or something like that. So maybe the expectation will be the next wave of paralegals will be able to handle 100 cases a week because they'll have AI tools alongside them. So it's not, we like to say it's a tool, not a colleague, but it's becoming close to a colleague in the sense that you can think of it as a partner, as a helper that works alongside you and makes you more efficient in those areas where, let's face it, nobody, I don't care what you do, even stockbrokers, and you've got all these screens here and it's absolutely amazing, but nobody wants to sit around and spend 8 to 10 hours a day of their 20 years in a row. That's like a huge chunk of your living life.
Right, yeah.
It's just staring at a screen, right? Wouldn't it be nice to have some AI agents that do those tasks and things for you and report back to you just like an employee would, essentially?
Yeah, I was just thinking about how many tasks did we come up with, and I just got to where, like, if I think of an idea, I jump over to my email, I type it up real quick and send it to myself so I can come back to it at another date.
Right.
But that interrupts what I'm working on too. So if we had somebody
Right.
that could be more collaborative to be more involved with the specifics of a project or whatever you're working on, so you could say, hey, this is a potential solution for this issue. We need to mention that and have them start to develop that or at least document the pieces
Absolutely.
for that while you went on and continue on with what you were working on.
So in my case, I call it my robot army. But basically, I run quite a number of concurrent, simultaneous software development systems that are all AI based. So I have right now about 6 servers, and I have my own cloud servers. And what I'm able to do is we're in the era of agentic coding. So that's a fancy term. It means that you have AI agents running, doing stuff for you. So I can say, go build this product, and I have several product launches coming up of my own. I have
Is that short for agenda?
agent. So
Agent.
agentic
Sorry, yeah,
coding,
okay.
right?
All right.
So it's like an autonomous agent. It's like a little
Right.
computer AI program that does stuff for you in the background. You just tell it go do things; it'll just keep doing stuff for you.
Right.
And so that and I have several of my own products launching. I have a patent application in for a product I'm launching actually in the next couple of weeks, and that's actually called The Hype Thing, HYPE, thehypething.com, and it is the world's first virtual AI newsroom. I have virtual reporters. I have a journalistic integrity and ethics. I have a journalistic brain, so to speak, and I also have a virtual editor-in-chief, so that it actually loops and it'll kill stories or send them back to the virtual journalists for revision. So it's an automatic content generation machine, and I can't tell you any more about it because it's patent pending, but you will see it in action very soon. So in other words, and now to develop that, I didn't sit there and code that thing up, right? I tell the coding agents to go code that. But you can take these agents and you can train them on whatever you need them to know, right? So maybe you want an agent that helps you with your calendaring, right? So that's how the era that we're in now is taking these sort of custom AI agents, training them and orienting them towards a specific set of tasks or a specific category, like this is your job now as a virtual helper, essentially. And so that's kind of how that, that's where we can get those efficiency gains,
Wow, we could go on for this for a long time, everybody. We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back for our finish up. We're going to give a full half-hour discussion here with my buddy. Mr. Mink knows his stuff, so we're going to stay tuned here for a little bit more. Hey, everybody. Cardinal Cowboy here, another leader in our community. Paul Carlo. Paul, you've been working with boxing therapy now for a long time. Tell me what you do up there at Boxing Therapy, located right here in St. Charles.
It's in Fredstown. We work with kids with autism, mentally disabled kids, kids trying to come off the street, court ordered. Just put them through a little workout, build them confidence, encourage them. We give sessions where, mentors, we can mentor them and just work with kids that need help.
Well, I worked with Dr. Jose. I got to meet him through you.
Dr. Jones.
And Dr. Jose Jones.
Yeah.
And he said, he had a great little conversation with me. They really get to help these kids and every kid can get to some point pretty quickly where they were in trouble or they've had some issue. I mean, God knows my mom and dad kept me out of trouble a little bit. But easy for kids to get, but he helps those kids to get back in and learn the skills and stay out of trouble.
Oh, exactly. I mean, there are a lot of kids, things are hard, they have hardship lives and stuff, and some of the inner city kids and don't know a lot of figures, father figures or male figures at all. And they come down there and we just help them any way we can, just give them the best advice we can and do what we can.
Well, it gives them something really cool to look up to. Paul is a continental middleweight champion, by the way. Number one boxer in the continent and helping kids learn some skills for life. Stay tuned for more, everybody. The
Thank
Golden
you.
Castle Show. Giddy up.
Thanks.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle Show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there is no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. Well, there you have it, everybody. Our AI, our computer technology is working because the camera switched back to camera 1 for me without me having to even press any buttons. But pick up our book. This is called Magnetized Media. It's the #1 seller on Amazon, and it talks about how this whole media stuff has changed the way the world is. Lenny really knows his stuff here too. If you want to talk about somebody that has been into the video media space, Lenny Mink, the owner and founder of LightPath.ai, really has a handle on this. And so, I got so many different directions to go with this. But how we talked about with the AI perspective, how likely is it there's going to be the Terminator effect? And you said you had an answer for that.
Yes. Well, this is question number 2. Question number 1 is, are you here for our jobs? And the answer to that, as I said, is we talked about that. Question number 2 is, gloom and doom. Are we all going to is AI going to decide it doesn't need us anymore? So there's a couple answers to that. One, right now we're still in it's kind of a silly answer, but we're still at a point right now. The reality is there is some governance and some rules built into AI. It's biased. We know it has its flaws and issues. But right now we can sort of like walk over and just like unplug it, right?
Right.
It's going to be some time before, and AI is not sentient. Let's not forget it is a computer system, right? It's not aware of its own awareness and something like that. But I also want to say, a hammer, is designed for certain things. You can kill somebody with a hammer,
right.
But you don't blame the hammer, right?
Of course.
You don't blame the hammer. So knuckleheads are going to knucklehead. Hackers are going to try to hack. People are going to you're going to be getting phone calls and you think it's your mom because it's your mom's voice and you think she's suddenly stuck and needs $10,000 wired to her or something like that. Those things are happening, unfortunately, and bad people are going to use AI for bad things, which is why probably it's maybe 75% or so of all work in the AI sector is in the work of governance and putting in some controls, at least some rational controls and security. So AI security this year is going to be a very, very big thing. How to protect your AI and how to protect yourself from AI is going to be a very big thing this year, yeah.
So ultimately, are they going to program into this to say you're not allowed to destroy humans? Or how are they going to...
Well, let's say, for example, I just pull up my run-of-the-mill Chat GPT and I'm like, hey, I want to build a pipe bomb and take out, whatever, right? I'm not encouraging people to try that, but
Right.
I mean, you'll be hopefully, let's say, impressed or at least reasonably at ease with the answer you get, right? I mean, GPT is not going to deliberately give you. There's ways to ask questions you can probably circumvent, but GPT is not going to deliberately give you ways of breaking the law, right?
Okay.
And so, people are going to break the law, and they're going to use technology to break the law, and it doesn't. How can I say? I mean, it's basically this: the wave is here, the wave is coming. You're either going to be under the wave or you're going to ride the wave, and I think for business people, and I know that's a big part of your audience here. For business people, as my website says here, AI is now, right?
It is, yeah.
And you better embrace it because your competitors are doing it, So
Yes, and it's better to stay on top of this one because this is a game changer. It will literally systematize and automate and be able to compute things that most humans could never keep up with this, right?
absolutely, yeah. And if you're a business owner and you're like, I have QuickBooks over here, and I have some other like CRM package over here, and I'm using Monday.com, and I have Slack, and I have all these like little tools, and they're not necessarily fully talking to each other. That's where AI comes into play. You can create a dashboard, and it's the things that I do for clients as well. I mean, not everybody's going to sit and code something up, but that's why guys like me are here. So.
Well, we obviously have so much more to talk about here. But let's get down to a couple of the core issues. You mentioned the job issue is going to be an issue. It's going to kind of sort itself out. We agree. They do have a solution. There is a potential they're going to circumvent the ultimate destruction.
Yeah.
But what does the average business person need to take on today to deal with this, to best implement this for their business?
First and foremost, try the systems. If you haven't tried ChatGPT, just get yourself, it's free, just experiment with it. One of the best ways to use AI, and I'd say this is really the first step, think of AI as an AI tutor. You can ask it, hey, I'm in the roofing business, or I'm in the retail business. What can you do for me? And talk to AI, even ChatGPT, and ask it, what are the questions I should be asking you? What kind of systems could you recommend for me? What sort of things can you build for me? And then people may get buried with, I call it knowledge fatigue. There might be almost get too much coming back from AI, and then from time to time you may need to hire a professional, something to kind of help you sort things out. But I think lack of fear and being curious about it is absolutely the first thing.
Something to not fear, everybody, because you can be on top of it. How does somebody hire you if they want to get a hold of you? They said,
go to my website, lightpath.ai, right here, and I have a list of the different services. And the very first thing I have right at the top, one of the first things is governance. For companies, it's really, really important. How do we begin to implement AI? How do we begin to allow our employees to use AI in a variety of different ways? Are there some systems that are better, that are worse, that we can bring into our operation that would be helpful? So that's kind of the first step. I'm easy to contact through the website. Also, I have on there services. I have agentic AI. So that's where I can create agents that will help your business in an automated fashion, right? So, the main thing is doing discovery. And that's a fancy term for basically, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what you're trying to do, basically.
Let's talk more about it, everybody. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Stay tuned. Giddy up.